Hey, fellow Cortanas, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Cropivian, and today I am ranking my top 10 episodes from season 11 of Supernatural. One of my favorite seasons, if not my favorite season. This one had some pretty interesting episodes to it. So, without further ado, here are my top 10 episodes from season 11 of Supernatural. Number 10, Out of the Darkness into the Fire. The darkness has been unleashed upon the world. Now Sam and Dean must figure out how to contend with something they've never even heard of before. And this episode didn't disappoint in introducing Amara. This episode kind of takes you back to a degree back to Croatoan a little bit, in episodes that were like Croatoan, because you're traveling back from season 10's finale back to the bunker with Sam and Dean to try and figure out how this is. This episode left so much mystery and so much wonder to the character of the darkness that you really are ready to go along for the ride for this season. Number 9, The Chitters. So we were just talking about Sam and Dean coming across a foe that they've never come across or heard of before. Well, that's because for this episode especially, they only come out every 27 years. A completely new creature that poses a complete and total threat to Sam and Dean and to this small Colorado town that leaves you wondering how to beat these creatures. And they're very unique. They already had a lot of influence in this town because they affect one of the characters who are also hunters in this story. And to have that depth to a different character that isn't Sam and Dean with a revenge tactic behind them, kind of refreshing. Because for so long, we've always seen Sam and Dean, but it's refreshing every once in a while to see a different character to have that revenge push behind them. And it's human bugs. A lot of people don't like bugs in general. I don't really mind them. I don't really care for them. They live their lives. I live mine. But these bugs are a different story. They want to kill you and take over your body in order to live their life that is very, very short. But a very memorable episode. And number 8, Just My Imagination. Remember your childhood friend, your imaginary childhood friend? Leads Sam and Dean down a path that really leaves Dean in a world of wonderment and questioning what he believes in again. One thing we haven't come across yet was the imaginary friend thing, which is surprising because it makes a whole lot of sense to have supernatural imaginary friends. And Sully is one of the most kind of annoying but also enjoyable characters in Supernatural. But the different imaginary friends that we see along the way, it's really an interesting episode and a really interesting deep dive into childhood fantasies. And number 7, Thin Lizzy. Well, I've talked about H.H. Holmes before on season 2 of my top 10 episodes. Now we get to talk a little bit about Lizzie Borden in the realm of Supernatural, and the idea that it's possibly her spirit, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just Amara. I love the re-entry of the soulless humans in Supernatural. The last time we had really seen that was with Sam back in season 6, and it was a very intriguing time in Supernatural, and it became even more intriguing when it wasn't just down to Sam and Dean, but it became a much more bigger picture thing. It's a really fascinating little piece of a look into what Amara is capable of and the danger that she presents. But also, you kind of wonder, how are Dean and Sam going to contend with the fact that now there's going to be some soulless people out there, and are they monsters or are they not? What do you do? Number 6, the vessel. In the hunt to try and search for anything to use against Amara, it leads Dean to once again go back in time with the help of Cassifer and go back to a time when World War II was very much in motion and a submarine was square in the targets of the Nazis. This episode, to take Dean back, to try and get him to get the one thing that was the last thing that they know of that was touched by God at that point in time, to try and use against Amara, was really interesting and a really fascinating idea and a really fascinating area to tell this story in a submarine. Fun episode, but a really time-honored episode as well. Time is a big factor in this one. Number 5, Safe House. Sam and Dean go on a hunt to a house that Bobby and Rufus have already been inside, and they find a very interesting symbol that they must dig into to try and figure out more of the puzzle pieces and uncover how to stop this thing once and for all. Well, comes to that it's something where one of them must die in order to be on the other side to rebuild the trap and rebuild the containment field for this creature to no longer hurt anybody or harm anybody. This episode I like because of the fact we get Bobby and Rufus one more time in a Supernatural episode. Always great to see those two guys banter with each other and go back and forth with each other. It's so entertaining, and to get the parallels with Sam and Dean and to see Bobby and Dean share the screen one more time where Dean and Bobby see each other on the other side, and Bobby almost questions whether or not that really was Dean and how could that possibly have been him. And same with Dean on the flip side. Was that really Bobby? Did I really just see Bobby? What was he doing there? Great episode. One that would carve out its little own corner of history in supernatural lore. Number 4, We Happy Few. The time has come. Chuck has arrived back on Earth, and they have to figure out whether or not he is going to join their fight against Amara. He does decide to join the fight against Amara, his sister, but it could come at a very hefty price. This episode, it's all out brawl. I mean, this episode, they throw everything at Amara, and she just keeps coming. To see Rowena, to see Crowley, Castiel, Sam and Dean, and Chuck all working together against Amara really puts into perspective how powerful that character really is. And one of the reasons why she's one of my favorite characters of all time. And just a fascinating episode before the season finale in this season of Supernatural. At the end of this episode, when you see the sun starting to go dark, you really do think that it's Amara doing it. Turns out, it's not so much Amara doing it, it's more Chuck. That is, his light is going out. Number 3, Alpha and Omega. Season finales in Supernatural always came to a explosive gunshot end. Almost. This episode was different. This season finale was memorable because of the fact that instead of having to end or find a way to end Amara, which they kind of do with Dean turning himself into a human bomb, they think that that's the only way. Well, it turns out it's not, as Chuck and Amara would eventually come to terms, no thanks to Dean being able to be there and kind of mediate this meeting between Chuck and Amara, and luckily the two find common ground, and one of the coolest visuals of all time as Burt goes into a ball of light, Amara goes into the smokes, and they serpentine off into the galaxy, into the universe to get to rekindle their relationship. And such a memorable episode, especially since we get Mary back into the fold for Sam and Dean, and that is such a great piece for the next few seasons moving forward, and this episode will always be one of the best season finales, top 5, if not top 3. Number 2, Beyond the Mat. Of course, as a wrestling fan, I'm going to put this one pretty high up, especially since we got WWE superstar The Miz a part of this episode, and he plays, well, pretty much what he plays on WWE TV, a dick. It's so fascinating to see Sam and Dean, again, back from their childhood history, when they would go to wrestling shows with John, and every once in a while they'd get a little break from the hunting life and just be a family, and this was one of them. And Dean gets to come across his favorite wrestler growing up on a memorable episode that unfortunately would turn bad for Dean, especially because he has to come to terms with the fact that his favorite wrestler also made a deal with the demon, and there's no really way to save him because he doesn't want to be saved. He made his bed and he wants to lie in it. No pun intended. The Miz gives out a great performance, no surprise there. Such a great actor and such a great wrestler, and it was so cool to see The Miz a part of this episode. As a wrestling fan, you couldn't have asked for more for a wrestling episode in the realm of supernatural storytelling. Number 1, Baby. How could you not love the episode that gives you the perspective of the car? Especially a car that became so big in the story as the Impala did to Supernatural. There's no show that could have done an episode about a car, solely about a car, and make it work as well as Supernatural did. Everything from seeing Sam and Dean, the brotherly situations that they get in on the road, driving to the next case, to the hunt, to seeing her banged up, and it's such a full episode and a great episode, and definitely one of the best episodes of all time from Supernatural, if not the singular best, because of what they were able to accomplish with the experimentation through this episode. Nothing had really been done this way ever before in any TV show or movie, from just the sole perspective of a vehicle or just an inanimate object in general. This was truly a stand up and take your bow kind of moment for the Impala, and from a fan's perspective, you couldn't have asked for a better episode to honor such an important character to the show of Supernatural, but also one of the coolest cars in the history of American muscle. That is going to end this episode of my top 10 episodes from season 11 of Supernatural. This was a complete season, a great season, one of my favorites, and some of the most memorable episodes came from this season. So, I thank everybody so much for watching. Always remember to imagine your dream, create your happiness, and live your life on the edge. And I will see you in that next episode. See ya.